some breaking news on another investigation we've been working on. Behind the Great Wall in China. One of that country's most important voices of dissent, a man who has displayed remarkable courage in openly defying Chinese authorities, and a man we've been profiling, has suddenly disappeared. His name is Ai Weiwei, and although you may not know him, Western governments, China watchers, and local activists worry that his arrest means that the Chinese government is moving in an ominous new direction.
I think the most powerful tool to this kind of authoritarian society is to let the truth out.
This interview took place just 10 days before Ai's arrest. A reporter and a cameraman for Dan Rather Reports had met him in Beijing for an investigation about internet censorship in China.
The usage of internet still being seen as a very sensitive, even dangerous area.
Ai is the latest dissident to be swept up in a new nationwide crackdown on anti-government activists. Since the popular uprisings began sweeping through the Arab world, authorities in China have been increasingly wary, tense, and on edge. In the last few weeks, dozens of prominent activists in China have disappeared into what is believed to be government detention, something that was very much weighing on Ai's mind when we talked to him.
This is terrifying. You know, many people in past year, I know them. You know, those people are writers or just internet users. Then they have been taken away.
A fate that sounds prophetic, now that Ai has himself disappeared without a trace. The internet has given voice to Chinese critical of their own government, but it is heavily monitored and censored by the state.
They may just shut off any moment, so.
Ai has become an internet father figure of sorts in the electronic dissent movement in China, showing how the technology can be used to highlight the abuses of a corrupt government.
Normally I answer people's questions.
He tweets with thousands of Chinese every day on a site called Sina.
I use a fake name to get into this Sina.
He uses aliases to evade government censors, but it's a game of cat and mouse. And when authorities figure it out, they cut Ai off until he springs up again.
Just in like one day I got this much followers. I think the notion for change is already in the air. It's in the many young people's heart.
The reason why Ai Weiwei's arrest has become such big news around the world is because he is much more than an anonymous blogger in Beijing. He is a world-famous artist who's been called China's Andy Warhol. And even if you haven't heard of him until now, you probably know at least some of his work. It was Ai who helped design the signature Bird's Nest Stadium that was the centerpiece of the 2008 Beijing Olympics. It was considered a crowning achievement for modern China. But when the time came for the opening ceremony, Ai made a public statement of criticism, saying he would not attend because he had designed the stadium to represent freedom, not the autocracy of the Chinese state. Ai Weiwei's art is all about his politics, never shy about sharing his feelings for the Chinese government. One of his most controversial projects, in the eyes of Chinese authorities, came after the tragic Sichuan earthquake of May 2008. Thousands of children had died in shoddily built schools, and authorities weren't forthcoming, even with the names of the dead. So Ai decided to act.
You know, we made many arguments. We said we really have to know, because otherwise we cannot trust your numbers. So at the end, they refused to tell us anything. So we said, okay, let's do a citizen investigation. I put a note on my blog. I said, now as an artist, I'm decided to try to find those names. So that wall consists of about 5,000 people.
Ai's art and online activism had come together in a direct threat to Chinese authorities, and he and his followers were able to put names and details to the dead.
A female, born 1994.
The experience led to this art piece, displayed at a Munich, Germany museum. It was a colorful display of hundreds of children's backpacks, like those left behind by young victims in the rubble of the earthquake. They spelled out the words a grieving mother had told Ai about her daughter. It reads, "She lived happily on this earth for 7 years."
For me, this is a very, very strong message. You know, so many life has been ignored, and so many people, human rights has been neglected in this kind of state, and nobody give a damn. But we have to remind other people, you know, because life is really a property of the all. You know, we all share same values when we talk about life, the dignity of life, the rights of life. So what I'm doing is just to act like a person. You know, I don't think I'm brave or have any crazy ideas to change the society, but I really want to be myself, just to tell other people you also can do so. You know, to be yourself, to state your mind clearly, and to tell people what is right and what is wrong. Nobody can stop the course of change. You know, people asking to be happy and free and enjoy the life. No power can stop that. It's only a matter of time.
Considering that this interview happened 10 days before his arrest, he was clearly aware of the risks he was taking.
And are you scared of anything? Are you scared of them arresting you, of taking you away?
Of course, as a person, you know, I'm quite weak. You know, I think you only can bear that much. You constantly ask yourself if physically, mentally, you're stronger enough for that. I have to always, every day, ask myself, how long can I last if I'm in extreme conditions such as jail?